Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Call Me Skinny. Excited to be here with you today. If you're new here, welcome. If you are not new here, thanks for returning. Really appreciate you. We are chatting today about lots of things, and it's not something I actually had thought about doing or had scheduled to do, but I did want to talk about it. So that being said, we're going to get into it. We're just going to go ahead because I feel like this is going to be really relatable. And it's something that I had a conversation with somebody else about last week. And it's not even, I think, something I was aware of until this moment. And it's been actually a conversation I've been having with other women, other moms specifically. And I want to have this conversation with you because I feel like no matter where you're at in your life, you could probably relate to what I'm going to talk about. And that is like understanding the season of life that you're in. And let's talk about that. What I didn't necessarily realize in my health journey over the last 9 years was the different seasons that I went through during that process. What made them easier? What made them more difficult? And, you know, again, I've recently talked about this a lot, and I feel like I touch on it at least one time in an episode at this point, once a week or something. But when I did my bulk with the coach, that got really nasty and out of control, and I put on a lot of weight very quickly, and I have now been on this journey trying to get it off again. And it's not even like the weight that I'm trying to release. It's just honestly just fat loss itself. Like I'm not so much hung up on the scale number as I really am just trying to very methodically get down to a place that I feel comfortable in my skin. It's not about the number on the scale specifically. And one thing that I have to say is the season of life that I'm in right now is very, very different than the season of life that I was in 9 years ago. And I briefly touched on this last week, but I really want to dive into why it's different, how it's different, maybe some things that I didn't even recognize were happening because it's different. And then like having this conversation last week with somebody was like eye-opening to me. It's like, whoa. And, you know, it's like, am I doing things that I wasn't doing before? Am I not doing things that I was doing? Am I like, where are we at here? Like what's actually happening? Okay. So I was not prepared, I think, when my husband quit his job and moved home. And what I mean by that is I was not prepared for how it was going to shift life. I was not prepared for the change that it was going to bring. I was not prepared for how life was going to look, if I'm going to be super honest. And not only was life changing that way, life was changing financially, life was changing with the kids getting bigger, because the year that he quit, that summer or spring, it's been almost two years now. I think we're going on 2 years. That summer into or spring into summer is when my kids all transitioned out of elementary school and then into middle school, and then from middle school into high school. And so there was a lot of change happening, lots of it. And I just wasn't prepared. Nobody talked to me about this as, you know, as we are, you know, we get told all about how the changes and the stages of, you know, going from a newborn to toddlers, from toddlers to, you know, early elementary school. And then it kind of stops. And then you maybe talk about it again once your kids hit puberty, and then it stops again. And the season of life is always changing. It's not just seasons that we have outside, but our season of life is constantly evolving, constantly churning, right? And it really is supposed to. Like, that's its job. Life is constant. Like I always say, the only thing that's constant is change. The only thing that's not going to not change is that things change. That's it, right? And so I was kind of trying to figure out like, okay, this is a lot harder this time than it was the last time. Where did my notes page go? This is a lot more difficult this time than it was the last time. And I'm like constantly now trying to figure out why. And instead of getting angry at myself, which I'm not even going to lie, I absolutely had done. I was starting to get irritated. I was starting to get annoyed. I was starting to get frustrated with myself. I'm starting to get almost like over myself. Like, Sarah, what the fuck is your problem? Like, why is it so difficult this time? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And it's not that I think I'm broken. It's not that I think all these things. Although, again, it's like, is it my hormones? Am I really like struggling that much? Like in the last, I would say 2 years, am I in perimenopause? Are things shifting? Are things wonky? Are they getting weird? Or is that just a easy out right now? Because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to point the finger and they want to go, it's your hormones. It's everything's your cortisol. It's your hormones. It's your cortisol. It's your hormones. It's your cortisol. Like even today, looking in a Facebook group, like this one person is like, I'm not sleeping very well. But I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm doing cardio. It's your cortisol. It's your cortisol. Like, oh my God. The cortisol is not the fucking problem for everything. It's like everybody's making cortisol constantly out to be this bad guy, and it's not the bad guy. It's actually doing his fucking job. So that's where I got to. It's like, what is wrong with me? And I almost got like annoyed with myself, very tired of it. Like you can't keep on this hamster wheel. And I think because I've had a moment and a season in life that I have been able to get off the hamster wheel, I am even more frustrated with myself because I know what to do. I know how this works. Why can't I stick to it? What is wrong with me? Right? And what I feel like I just haven't accepted and acknowledged that this season of my life is probably one of the hardest seasons that I have had maybe since my divorce, since my mom got sick 12 years ago. Now, my husband being deployed, sure, that's hard, right? But I adjusted, figured it out. It's okay, right? But right now, this season that I am in, I'm feeling very, very lost. I'm feeling very confused. I'm feeling very rocky. I feel very unstable. I feel very disconnected in a lot of ways. I feel there's lots of things going on. And the more I talk and the more I dig into those things, I'm realizing that I'm not broken. It's probably not my hormones. It's probably not my cortisol. I am literally juggling 4,700,000 million bajillion things. I have all these things going through my brain. I'm constantly on the go, never slowing down, never stopping. You know, I wrote an email a little bit more about what's going on with my daughter. But like on Friday, we did a lot of errands and her getting blood work done. And what else did we do? We had to get imaging, but we couldn't get imaging until today. But then we went and I got her food. Oh, we had to pick up her script. I went and got her food. We went and I picked up my son. We went and got physicals. We opened up checking accounts. And then I didn't stop. Like I was just take this kid here, pick him up there, get dinner here, got to go here, record this, do this thing over here, email this. And she finally she's like, Mom, I know you're not not doing anything, but wow, that was really eye-opening for me. That was I was like, wow, you really do a lot of shit. Yeah, I really do a lot of shit, and not every day is like that. That's fair. It's not. But a lot of days I'm still doing those similar things. Just maybe I'm running it in the business, or by the time 3:00 comes, yeah, I'm all over the fucking place. I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there, I'm all over. Okay. So it was kind of nice for her to have that nice little eye-opening situation for her to see this. Right. But everything's harder. Keeping up is a lot harder. Doing all the things, it's a lot harder. Caring enough to stay in a calorie deficit, it's not because I can't. It's not because I have these crazy cravings. It's not because my hormones are all fucked up. It's not because my cortisol. It's literally because it's fucking hard. It's hard right now for me to fucking care. It's hard right now for me to give a shit. It's hard for me to have the capacity. It's hard. And nobody talks about this hard of this season of life. Nobody talks about what it's like when your kids are getting driver's license. Nobody's talking what it's like when they start applying for colleges. Nobody's talking about what it's like when they're getting jobs and getting checkbooks and checking accounts and debit cards and all these things. Nobody talks about this season of hard. Nobody. Like I have multiple siblings that have gone through this with their kids, and nobody talked about it being this difficult, like this hard for them. I didn't even see it. Maybe it was. I don't know. But man, this is hard for me. This is very difficult. And part of it is because I've talked about this a little bit before, but I always have this fear of not being needed, and that when I'm not needed, then I'm not valuable. And if I'm not needed, then what am I even here for? Like, what's the point of me? If I'm not needed, then what difference does it make? Like I just need to be needed. And so I think maybe for me, this is a lot more difficult this season, maybe than for other people, because maybe other people don't have that need. Maybe that is not a thing for them, because every time I wasn't needed, I was pushed aside. Every time I wasn't needed, I was just tossed like trash. Right? So if you don't need me, then then what am I good for in your life? Okay. And that is my loop that I stay stuck in, right? Things that I'm working through, things that I'm working around and trying to figure out and dig into a little bit more to figure it out, to understand that they're still going to need me. It's just going to be different. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. But they're still going to need me. Right? So all of that to say that this season of life is hard for me. And I can blame it on all these other things. I can blame it on my cortisol. I can blame it on potential perimenopause. Who fucking knows? I don't even know if I'm in perimenopause. I have no clue. I still have a pretty consistent cycle. So pretty sure I'm not. But either way, or if I am, I'm just managing symptoms very well. But either way, that's where I'm at. Okay. And in order for me to get where I want to go in my health, I have to accept the fact that this season is hard for me. I'm resisting what is changing, and it's not allowing me to settle into any kind of routine in my health because I'm resisting so much of the other stuff that's going around. And when I say I don't have capacity, literally a conversation my husband and I had, I think it was Sunday morning, I was like, okay, when you go to get food out of the fridge and you open up the fridge, what do you think about when you're in there? Like, what do you think about when the fridge is opened? What do you think about? He was like, getting food, like looking for something to eat. I was like, awesome, cool. I open the fridge and I look in the fridge when I go get my food and I go, oh my God, that needs to get thrown away. Somebody spilled milk and didn't fucking clean it up. And the milk is now gone. So there's no milk in the fridge. So I have to go get another milk out of the thing. And it's like, oh my God, that probably is no good anymore. Let me open up this drawer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got to figure all this out. Like, oh, I need to put this on the list because now I don't see that this is there, but it was there yesterday, but it's not there today. And it's like, oh, what am I going to actually use that for dinner? Am I going to use that this week, or should I just throw it away now because today's trash day? But that's what I think about. And he's like, seriously? I was like, yeah. Like, I can't open something up. I walk in our room. I'm like, oh my God, we got blah, 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 blah. I look in the bathroom, blah, 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 blah. I really should go through all that stuff in there. Oh my God, I haven't used that thing in like 42 years. It's like, Jesus. It's like, I should just throw that thing away. Yeah, but if I throw it away, then I'm probably going to want it again. And we'll just leave it alone. It's like, that's what I think about. That's how my whole brain works. He's like, well, no wonder why you're so exhausted all the time. Yeah. No wonder. And that's the difference. And we talked about these things. I think that I talked about this with a really good friend of mine on Saturday morning out for breakfast. I was like, I think that's a biological difference between men and women. Men can compartmentalize so much better, right? That's oftentimes why, and I've heard this time and time and time and time again. I've experienced it. I've talked about it with clients, right? When you're having these same conversations about your refrigerator, right? And then you finally go to bed and your husband wants to be loving with you. And you're just like, don't fucking touch me. Don't fucking touch me. Or you can't shut your brain off because you're so in all the things that you were thinking about in the fridge. Like, oh my God, I forgot to put that on the list. And oh my God, all the things I need to get done tomorrow and all the blah, 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 right? And you can't shut down. This is a reality. And they were like, I don't know why I can't track my food. This is why. I don't know why it's so hard to lose weight. This is why. And we're looking at it must be my hormones. No, it's probably not. It's probably not your hormones at all. Could it be? Possibly. The likelihood, slim. And to be honest and transparent, we're going to all go back to the other things. If it is your hormones, if you got your diet and started moving your body, and your diet got in check is what I meant to say. If you got your diet in check and started moving your body, your hormone things would probably shore up pretty fucking quick, majority on their own. Now, maybe not fully, and maybe not super fast, but you would be in a better place. But you don't have the capacity to do that. The season of life is hard. And I've had to accept the fact that the season of life is hard for me. Right? Like, this is hard. My kids growing up and not needing me, that's hard for me. I keep trying to go into calorie deficit, but it's hard to stay in one. You know, this with my consistency challenge this month, it's still been hard. And for me personally, it's not about being in the calorie deficit. It's about tracking my food. So regardless of whether I'm tracking my food or not, if I'm not in a calorie deficit, I'm not going to lose weight. Regardless of what my fucking cortisol does or my hormones or anything else, I'm not going to lose weight. So I'm really trying to give myself some space and permission and when to push, when to pause and understand when am I making excuses and when do I need to like tell myself to shut the fuck up. And I think that you can do both. I think that I can tell myself that this is hard and still do it, right? We can live in duality. We can live in a duality where something is very difficult, something is hard, but we still can do this. We still can pay attention to our protein. We still can drink water. We still can get in our steps. We are allowed and we have permission to live in duality. And most oftentimes we don't. We love the all or nothing. We love the black and white. We hate the gray. I am trying really hard to live in the gray, to understand this is hard and I can still be successful. But what I didn't realize is how hard the season was for me. I just kept thinking, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me. And again, this isn't about not doing the things just because it's hard, just because the season of life is hard. It's about acknowledging, oh shit, now I understand why this is harder. Now I get it. It's not what's wrong with me. It's like, oh, it makes sense why you're having a harder time staying in a calorie deficit. That doesn't mean you can't try. It doesn't mean that you don't have to be in one. It doesn't mean that you just get to go off the rails and be like, oh, here's the fuck it button because it's too hard and the season of life is hard. So fuck the rest of the shit. Not how that works. And I'm going to touch on this because I think it's important, which is I had a client ask a really great question over the weekend. And I took about a day to think about it because I was like, this is a really good question. And she asked me, what do you do when you're just tired? What do you do when you're just tired of healing, of growing, of doing better? Like, what do you do? Right? And I think this is a really important question. And I think that it has to do with this because I am tired. I am so tired of tracking my food right now. I'm over it. I'm fucking done. I'm so tired of getting in my steppy steps. I'm so tired of thinking and eating about protein. I'm so thinking and eating, but whatever. I'm so tired of making sure I get to the gym and is my intensity enough in my training and is my output really what it should be? Not because, eat less, move more, but because am I training with good intensity? I'm tired of that, right? In my business, I'm tired of fucking being a goddamn puppeteer on fucking social media and having to say all the fucking things that everybody thinks that they want to hear. Like, oh, your cortisol. Fuck off. How about you just focus on the basics of health? Sorry, it's not sexy. Sorry, it's not exciting. Sorry, it's not super fun. Sorry, that's going to get you where you want to go. Regardless of your fucking cortisol or your hormones or your gut, all of those things. And what I told her was this, and it actually kind of got me to put my own shit in perspective a little bit, which was super helpful for me. And that's what I love about coaching is that sometimes the the client brings that perspective right back to me, right? And it's almost like they're coaching me just as much as I'm coaching them, right? And what I told her was, I just think about the flip side. If I stop, then what? If I stop growing, if I stop healing, if I stop taking care of myself, if I stop being healthy, if I stop, then what happens? What happens to the people who depend on me? What happens to the people who I'm so afraid of leaving me because they need me that I'm not even going to be able there to help them when they need me because I gave up. I quit. And we don't quit. Now, we may slow down to a snail's pace, but every reflection, even if it isn't bringing you a scale drop or a size smaller pant or inches lost, a reflection like that is still a step forward. And what I told her was, we're allowed to be tired. We are allowed to be annoyed. We are allowed to be in a season of hard. We are allowed to be in the muck. We are allowed to do all these things. What we're not allowed to do is quit. What we're not allowed to do is quit. And that's the difference. And again, it's living in a duality, living in a, this is hard, but I can still. This is difficult, but I can still. This sucks, but I can still. And that's the difference. And it got me really almost after this last week and a half of trying to like dig into my own shit. And this came up on a call, like I said, with another, with a container that I'm in. And it's like, we were talking and I was like, man, nobody talks about this season of life. Nobody talks about how fucking hard this shit is. Nobody does it. She's like, Sarah, you need to talk about that. That's important. People need to hear that. I was like, okay. But after that, getting that client question, it kind of like bookended that for me. It's like, yeah, the season of life is hard, but what happens if I just stop? What happens then? What does my life look like at that point? And that looks ugly as shit because I'll tell you what, I've stopped caring before and it got me nowhere good. It got me nowhere good at all. And so I can't stop. I can slow down. I can peel back. I can move differently. I can shift. I can pivot. I can adjust, but I don't get to stop. And we can acknowledge that this is hard and I can still move forward. This is difficult and I can still move forward. I don't want to and I still can. And the moment that we sit in both of those worlds and allow ourselves the space, as long as you can acknowledge it, the light bulb clicked. Like there's nothing wrong with me. It's not perimenopause. It's not my hormones. It's not all these things. It's that I'm in a season that I just was not prepared for. I am in a season that nobody has talked to me about before. And I am navigating the shit out of it. And I'm in the muck of it. And it is hard and it is, bleh, and I feel like I'm not making progress because that's part of the problem, right? When we are in the muck, this is the other thing I told her, is that when we are in the muck, when we're in the muck and we're processing and we're learning and we're growing and it's ugly and it's gross and it's hard and it's ew and you want to do what she wants to do, which is just be fucking done, right? That is normal. We have to acknowledge that being in the muck doesn't mean that we're not progressing still. It feels like we are not going anywhere. It feels like we're stuck because we're in the muck. It feels like, what is the point? Because it doesn't feel like anything's changing or that you are growing or that you are moving forward. It feels like you're just stuck. And right now, I feel stuck. That is exactly how I feel. I feel stuck in my health. I feel stuck in my business. I feel stuck in certain relationships. I just feel stuck. But that doesn't mean that I'm not taking step forward because I'm still looking and reflecting. I'm trying to adjust what I can or pivot where I need while still moving forward. So I want you to ask. Maybe you want to journal. Maybe you want to talk about it with somebody. Maybe, I don't know. But what season are you in right now? Are you in a season that you're trying to navigate you've never navigated before and it's like hard? Because that's where my client is right now. It's where I am right now. She's in a season where she's having to relive things that she's never done as an adult, but had to do as a kid. And she's having a really hard time with that. And the unfortunate part is we are not the same people now as adults as we were as children. We are so much more aware. We are so much more educated, so much more cognizant than what we were when we were kids. I'm navigating a season of life that I never even knew existed. Like I never knew this was a real thing. But we're doing it. Right? What are you trying to force in this season that maybe you need to peel back from? Or maybe you just need to dig into the fact of like, is this a season that I'm prepared for? Is this a season of life that this is where I should be? Is this a season of life where, hey, I know I'm not going to make a lot of progress right now because shit is hard. But I'm still not quitting. But shit is hard. Right? So I want you to think about those things. So this is also the thing. This is teaching me a lot about myself. This is teaching me a lot about where I've come from, where I started, where I'm at now, right? And maybe change how you're thinking and feeling about this. Maybe that this is the season that teaches you a little bit of self-compassion, a little bit of grace, a little bit of patience that you tend not to have with yourself. To learn, to grow, to heal, to be in the muck, to be in the pain, to be in all the things, because that's actually what you need to do right now to keep moving forward. That's going to propel you for something bigger, for something better, right? And maybe this season for you isn't about growth, but maybe it's about grounding yourself. I was going to say grinding, that's weird. But maybe it's about grounding, digging in, feeling who you really are, discovering yourself better. You know? And the thing that I'm working on is rest. Always, I think rest until the day I die is going to be my biggest hang up, my biggest crux, my biggest issue. And I have to learn that sometimes resting is forward motion. Sometimes slowing down is movement. More than what we think it is. Okay? So here's your permission to dig in, to grow, to heal, and to also feel like, fuck, this is hard. Damn, this is difficult shit. You are allowed to not feel ready for the season that you're in. You are allowed to be tired. This is exactly what I told my client. You are allowed, and it makes sense. You are validated. You are allowed to be the person that has to figure things out and take shit day by day, sometimes hour by hour, sometimes minute by fucking minute, because that is how quickly life can change. That is how quickly it can change. And you are allowed to do that. That is your permission. So, thanks for coming to my TED Talk today. I love talking about this stuff. This is kind of my wheelhouse when it comes to how I coach clients and the things that we talk about. People talk about, oh, you're a weight loss coach or you're a fat loss coach. Yeah, well, this is the shit right here that we fucking dig into. This is the shit right here that determines whether my clients are successful or not successful. And it doesn't mean successful in weight loss. It means successful as a human being. This is what we talk about. This is the work that we do. So if you're in a season of hard right now, maybe make sure that you are allowing yourself to understand that you can live in both. Are you actually living in a season of hard that you're not even knowing that you're living in, or that you weren't prepared for, or you keep trying to point the finger at one other thing over here, but really it's like just hard. Like you're not prepared to live this life right now because it's hard. And it makes everything else harder. Like, where are you at? Give yourself some space to figure that out. And of course, if you're looking for somebody to bounce things off of, DMs are always open. shoot me a message. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will catch you on Friday, No Filter. Outside of that, links are in the show notes. If you are interested in working or coaching or doing this work, this is the work. This is the work. This is the work that we do. So catch you on the next episode.